Wonderful, and welcome to another episode of Heart and Soul. Today we're gonna talk and chat about empaths. Both of us, we are empaths, and I don't know about you, Janet, but I only learned about empaths about maybe 10, 15 years ago, and for most of my life I felt something is wrong with me. I was told numerous times, you're just too sensitive, you're too hard focused, something is wrong with me, you need to toughen up. So for 40 years of my life, I felt something's wrong with me and I just needed to toughen up. But as an empath, you can't. This is not your nature. So when did you learn about empaths and how did you learn that you were an empath and how did it feel, Janet?
I have to say I'm a little bit similar to you, Caroline, is that I only found out when I started my healing journey in lovely Switzerland. And people would say about these words like highly sensitive person, HSP, and empath, and I'm like kind of like going, I don't know what that is. And then when, I found out more about it, I went, that is so totally me. That is me. And you're right. I have all the time being told you're oversensitive because I would burst into tears or would get overwhelmed by things, or I would then have to seek solitude. My safe place sitting up a tree as a child, and particularly for me growing up in Northern Ireland at the time of the Troubles, and there was all this news and strife and bitterness and hatred all around me. It just sucked the energy out of me and made me really feel afraid all the time. But I was very aware of the collective energy. And now I know, but now I also know some protection tools as well, which I'll share one of mine later. What about you, Caroline? How did it impact you?
I was always drained. I was always, I couldn't be in crowds. I was just after half an hour, I just felt completely exhausted. And I also remember my daughter, she loved shopping, and it was shopping malls, with the loud music, and it's just like, and after one shop, I said, but I kept going for my daughter, and after that, I was just completely exhausted. And I always felt something is wrong with me. So being in crowds was really bad, or coming into a restaurant and then all of a sudden I felt aggressive and I thought sort of, what's that? Why do I feel this way? And like you, I remember we went to a wedding and then my youngest, he was 6, 7 years old. He then all of a sudden, he took his handkerchief and said, Mom, I knew you were going to cry. Here, I took a handkerchief for you. And I thought, so good. I mean, I always felt deep, movies touched me deeply, but also scary books. I love detective stories and crime stories, but it really affected me. I couldn't sleep and I couldn't sort of wash it away. Of course, it was a liberation too. I was sort of after my divorce and I had no idea and I always felt something's wrong with me. And like you, I said that like, oh, empath, what's an empath? I mean, never heard that word. And I'm so glad that young people now learn growing up with these words and that they are empaths and introverts and highly sensitive people. And it's okay to be the way we are, I think that's a liberation. So when I read up on empath, I was like, yeah, that's me. And it was so good. It felt so good. I felt totally understood. And that was actually probably the first time I realized there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just different and that's okay.
Yeah, I totally understand that, because to me, it was always seen as a weakness, as you sort of say that something's wrong with you. I mean, I did go through a period after a trauma that I shut down everything and I was like numb for years. And then when I kind of came through that, and then all this overwhelm of emotions again, and I've realized now, no, recognizing that yes, I'm an empath, understanding what that means. And that does mean that you have sometimes an overwhelm of emotions. You feel other people's emotions, the collective, what's going on. You walk into a room, as you say, and you feel it. And it's learning then, actually, once you learn how to sort of almost control that and protect yourself, it then becomes your superpower. And for the work
Absolutely.
that we do, I mean, it is something I value. And I know you do too, Caroline.
Yeah, like you, I always thought it's my greatest weakness.
Yeah.
Something is wrong. And I love to share an example of how I truly realized what a gorgeous gift being an empath is. When I was studying for pranic healing, and we had a course, and it was always in person, and I was there, coming there, love to learn new things. And then in the morning, all of a sudden, I felt this really period cramps. And I mean, I had endometriosis. I knew, I was, okay, but it's not this time of month for me. And I felt sort of a bit silly. And I even went to the toilet to check, just to make sure. And it was going on. I said, yeah, okay, good. Focus on the training and just breathe. And then later on, a lady excused herself and she said, I am sorry, I have to go home. I have this bad period came today and I can't stand the pain. And then for me, it was just like clickety click.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't me. I felt her pain. And there I felt, this is amazing. And this is what I truly embrace as a healer. I can truly feel the pain, the hurt, the sensations, the feelings of my clients. So it's actually a superpower. But like you said, I first had to learn to see, what is mine and what is coming from the outside, to really be clear about that. And then having sort of like a protection, but then opening, so to have it sort of like a on-off switch in a
Yes.
way that I allow other things to come in.
And I found, I mean, for the last few years, my journey it's been an upheaval again. And I think it's almost like I felt like a tree that's been uprooted and replanted, moving from one country to another and trying to get back into that zone. And I mean, all my energies and everything was just completely off whack. And it's only now through your help, Caroline, and also doing now energy work again on myself, all this knowledge that I had, and now I'm bringing it back on board. And it's amazing, as part of being an empath, is that once you get your energies, your chakras and your meridians and your energy flowing the way it needs to or should do, you become more balanced, and you can deal with all of that so much better. And I also noticed, because now, with being in a better place and being back to what I consider me, this is who I am, that do you ever go out somewhere and you're just sitting, minding your own business, and somebody will come up to you and sit next to you, and then the next thing you hear their whole life story, or you hear something, and you were just sitting there. You weren't looking for it, but just somehow your energy, then people come and they talk to you without even you doing anything. And I think that they can feel the empathic energy from us. So particularly when we're in a good space as well, is that other people feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important. Like, well, it's in some ways it's really nice, isn't it, when you feel, oh, that person could come and they felt safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one person even said it felt like stepping into the sunshine when they sort of came to me, and it's really wonderful. And like you said, just being centered, being yourself, and clearing my energy regularly. I mean, especially before I go to bed, but also during the day, or if something stressful helped. And by clearing my energy, I mean, cutting the cords, maybe imagine yourself walking through a beautiful waterfall, washing away everything and anything, and then, of course, putting on protection. I use usually pink light because it's very loving and soothing. If you're in a harsher energy, you can use blue, or even mirrors, outside facing mirrors, so it never reaches you, but reflects.
Bounces back,
And in that bubble, when I was doing that so often at the beginning, then I learned to connect with myself without that outside noise. It's like you can listen to your own radio station without having 20 radio stations go at once, you know, and learn about myself and my energy and what is me, and then slowly opening up and then say, this is me, this is not me. And then I could sort of say, I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to let it in, or I don't have to feel this way just because it happens. And of course, it's a learning curve. I mean, sometimes we get overwhelmed again, or sometimes things happen, especially if we're not in a good place. And grounding, like you said, the tree, I love that analogy. It's just amazing, because when you're deeply rooted, the storm of life, you're just rooted, but the branches, they just, swing in the wind, but you don't topple over.
Yeah.
And I think I used to topple over all the time before, and now I can be more grounded and secure. And what do you do to stay in your own energy, Janet?
I know when I work with clients, I mean, like you, we kind of prepare before we have that space to prepare the space, and we prepare ourselves. And I do envisage, I go with a white light, like almost like a white bubble with that sort of, it's almost like an opal shimmer off it. That's how I see it. But I will tell you a story about when a job I had, and one guy that I worked with, he was a real bully. He really, really was. And it was sucking the energy out of me, because I'd go into the office, he would be really horrible, and I was too nice to say anything initially anyway. I got to the point where I just thought, this is really not good. I'm not enjoying this. And then someone said to me, you should put some sort of like protection on. And I thought, okay. And the way I imagined it every day when I went into I'd stand at the front door before I'd walk in, and I'd imagine like almost like a white light suit of armor, but it was very flexible. But I was like totally protected in this, like ready to take on whatever. And then I would go in, and I would go through the day. And it's funny, every time I did that, never had an issue. And in the days when I forgot to do it, he would always be really mean. And I thought, there's something in this. And I said to the lady that I worked with, because she had a difficult time, I said, you should try this, but she never did. And he made her life really difficult. And it felt like, because I had this protection on, it seemed to, he didn't direct it at me anymore. So I definitely know the value of it. Mm-hmm. And it is important, as you sort of say, even when you're out in somewhere that you're not feeling safe, or there's too many people, too many energies, it's remembering. And that's a very important tool for empaths, is to put this layer of protection on. And whether it's your pink or whether it's a white light, but just as long as you're feeling that sort of lovely protection around you, and everything else then can bounce off. And I think that was a really, really important step, learning to do that.
Yeah, and seeing the effects. I absolutely love your story, and it just shows it's all about us, how we stand in our energy. So when you protect yourself and stand proud in your own energy, bullies have no effect. But if you don't protect yourself and you go in a little bit like, then all of a sudden it all comes to you. So, and that's also good. We don't need to change the way we are, like we felt for years, lifetimes, we need to toughen up. Accepting that we are extra sensitive, that we are empaths, but having tools to embrace that and protect us and go through life with that. And yeah, when I go on public transport, I always put a layer of protection, because you never know what,
Yes.
what people come. And we'd rather have nice people sit next to us sharing their story than having someone's grumpy
Negative,
energy,
yeah, anger, any of those negative emotions that just drains us, doesn't it? And the thing is, when we're doing that, we're actually emitting better energy around us as well. So that is also very positive. I do think that there's so much to it being an empath, and as you sort of say, for years we thought there was something wrong with us, and we being told, too emotional, you're too this, you're too that. And I mean, I don't know about you, but when I first started working, as you sort of say, you had to like almost wear that mask all the time, and then you'd go home and you'd be totally wiped out, and I would be in tears most of the time. And it was just my energy levels were like almost zero all the time, and it was really, and the stress levels and everything. I mean, my health then wasn't good. I remember somebody describing it, and I think this is also a good analogy, is that you take a bottle of soda, like fizzy drink, and you take that and you take it round, and every time, you're shaking it constantly, right? And then you take it home and you take the lid off, what's going to happen? And that's what was happening to me on an emotional level, is I was trying to keep everything suppressed. And then you get home, walk in the door, your own safe space, and it would just like
you could finally release it. Yeah, I
but
think
it's
we
not
just
healthy.
keep that smile on our face, and we don't allow ourselves that time out, or acknowledging even that this isn't good. We just keep going because that's what everybody else does. So
Exactly.
yeah, and also time out, sometimes just a quiet place. I mean, when I had my 3 kids and they drove me crazy, I hated the toilet. just 5 minutes to breathe, to sort of, arrive and come out again and then face the world. But it's little bit of extra time for yourself. And I mean, yeah, especially as we are both introverts and empaths, I think then we need that solitude. We can't really deal with too many people at the same time, and we recharge in nature.
I was just going to say
Ourselves.
that, Caroline, about nature and how the energy, because I know for me right now, I'm spending time, because I've had a foot surgery, so I can't go and do a lot of things. But now the weather's improved and I can spend time in my garden. It's just like, wow. And you live in beautiful Switzerland, and you take your dog out for walks, and it replenishes
The whole system. And
yeah.
it's sort of like soothing. We are at a more inner peace, calm, we can recharge. And nature, especially now in spring, I think we need the sun, we need the spring. We're sort of starting to bloom as well, and have a smile on our face, and that's really absolutely gorgeous. So if you could choose again, Janet, now that you've learned so much about yourself, would you rather be born an empath again, or would you rather say, oh no?
I think now, knowing what I know now, no, I wouldn't change anything, because being empathic is a gift. and certainly sort of to do the work that we do. And even when I used to train a lot, I could get a sense of people in the room, and I could see who maybe needed a little bit more support, who, you know, I could feel what people kind of needed. And I think that certainly for me, and I know for you as well, in the job that we do, in what this is our vocation, this is what we love, it's so important to have that empathic connection with the people that you're working with. Absolutely.
Definitely. I also embrace that gift. And any empaths out there that they're still struggling with being too sensitive, learn to embrace that gorgeous gift. It's a gift. And once you see that, you learn to accept yourself, you embrace that gift, and you can bring it forward to the world and help others about that. And I think the more we talk about our extra gifts given by the universe, and we can embrace it, you know, open it and embrace it and see it as the gorgeous extra tool.
Absolutely.
It's better.
And I think we should also say and share with you, you know, if you are an empath and you are recognized from what we're talking about today, and that does resonate with you, you know, that we're here also to support and help you through that journey. If you want to reach out and speak to either one of us or connect with us, please do so, because, you know, we know what it was like, and you can see embracing it, how it's changed our lives and what it means to us and our journey. So definitely do connect. We'd love that.
Yes, absolutely love to help you on your empath way. My name is Caroline Palmy, and you can reach me at carolinepalmy.com. And Janet also has a website,
janetgroom.com, and you can reach me at janet@janetgroom.com. But I think we've shared the links as well.
Exactly, we do. And let us know in the comment or reach out to us if you have any more questions. And I am so excited to having shared so much, and I love your story, and I'm still very, very in love with my story about that period pain, and it just shows how helpful it can be once we learn, whether it's ours or someone else's.
Yes, very much so. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and love and light blessings to you all.
Exactly. Till next week. Bye-bye.
Till next time. Bye.